How would you feel if you found out your boss was monitoring you every second of every workday to evaluate and score your performance against fellow colleagues? The bar, 100% productivity, 100% of the time. Monitored almost every minute of every workday, Woolies warehouse workers' productivity tracked through headsets until they clock off each night. Workers like Jack.
You're on edge. You're always in fear of when are they going to actually, come and tap you on the shoulder, that you're not doing your job for the day.
Jack has worked at a Woolies warehouse for 9 years. Jack isn't his real name. He's asked us to conceal his identity, afraid of losing his job for speaking out.
As soon as you sign in, you're on the clock all day. Every minute is monitored. Basically, you have to work like a robot. There's not much time in there for stopping.
Staff are also given performance scores as a percentage. And late last year, the company brought in a new framework to enforce a 100% efficiency rate to stamp out all time wasting and non-productive behaviours.
Everyone has a different ability. Everyone's different height, different strength. It's unrealistic to achieve the numbers.
That framework's since been put on hold. Woolies' supply chain business says it's an industry-wide approach based on completing the tasks safely, and that there are exemptions for pregnancy, disability or injury.
The pros definitely outweigh the cons. For businesses, it can give them the data that they need so they can actually increase the productivity of their employees, which is a gap in Australia at the moment.
And they're not alone. In fact, around half of all Aussie businesses now use some form of surveillance software to record the time employees take to complete tasks and track websites they visit during work.
We can catch out those very small number of employees that are doing the wrong thing. And this will also help with burnout, where we have individuals that are working too long hours and we need to get those shortened and under control.
But as technology evolves, there are fears that surveillance could well and truly cross a line.
It dehumanises work in terms of increasing speed and putting a lot of pressure on people, creating health and safety issues.
We're humans, we're not robots, and we need to be treated that way. And it's a big thing, profits before people, and it's a big fear.
We are live from the lands of the Kulin Nation, and here to tell us more is Dario Mujkic from the United Workers Union. Dario, how is this level of surveillance affecting workers?
Oh, hi everyone. Well, it's impacting on workers in a couple of different ways. So firstly, it puts a lot of pressure on them to work too quickly, and that's a big safety issue. So forcing people to work faster and harder will make it more dangerous and put them at higher risk of injury. But actually, what people talk to us about the most is the mental strain that this puts them under. People are talking about anxiety attacks on the way to work, and they're the real impacts.
Totally. It's a flow-on effect, right, Dario? So what are some of the most outrageous things that you've been told that workers are expected to do?
Well, what's outrageous is trying to set a universal standard for human movement, right, and the speed of human movement. So the way this works is there's an estimated time required to perform a task, and if you don't fit within that estimated time every single time, you're subject to punishment, right? That's what's outrageous about it. It is very, very difficult, or it's impossible, right, to impose a universal standard on every human being. So there's an estimation of the time taken to, let's say, pick a carton or a box off a warehouse shelf and get it onto a truck. Each worker is told in a headpiece what their next task is, and they're given a set amount of time to do that. And they must reach that period of time or less.
I mean, I suppose what a business could argue is, well, it's setting a minimum standard, right? We can have an argument about where that's set. If it's set in a reasonable place, then it's a minimum standard that is by definition reasonable. They have to balance productivity with things like worker wellbeing. That necessarily requires some level of performance measurement, surveillance, etc. Like what level of surveillance would you say is acceptable?
It should be about safety or protecting property. That's what surveillance is for. It should not be about measuring people's every minute of every day and measuring productivity.
So, no, I understand that point, but I guess what they're saying is every company from the beginning of time would have to measure performance and deciding what is an acceptable level of performance. This is just another way of doing that. So is your objection to the fact that it's done via software? Is your objection to the idea of measuring performance? Like, do they not have a right to measure performance, I suppose, is the starting point?
Yeah, no, the issue The issue with this is the universality of it, right? When you try and impose a universal standard on every single person every single day, that is not appropriate. And it's probably discriminatory, right? Because it does not take into account people's individual characteristics or how I might feel on this day.
Dario, are there ways you can talk to your employer about this? Because, for example, I work from 6:30 to 7:30 every night and I'm filmed the entire time. and I'm sick of it, to be honest. Are there ways I can discuss this?
I feel for you. Hopefully you're a member of your union, and maybe that can help, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Hey, Dario, this is a really, really fascinating development. It'll be interesting to see how the fight proceeds from here. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Just an update on that. Channel 10 have said they're quite happy to stop filming you, Sam. If you would like...
I'm going to call this union I just heard about.
You can find the full statement from Woolworths as well, by the way, their supply chain business Primary Connect, which is up on our website too.
So I think the problem starts to arise here when it starts to feel either soul-destroying or inhuman in some way.
Do you like a man versus machine vibe? Or...
Oh, well, there is that.
Yeah.
But I just mean so if there are always going to be workers who don't perform or who don't work as hard as they should. And
you
so
looked at me as well.
I think that was Freudian, Sam.
That's always going to happen. But surely it's a problem when the starting point of the relationship is suspicion.
Yeah, totally, right?
So if the starting point is, we think you're going to cheat and this is all around stopping you cheating before things get underway, that seems to me, in the long run, broken. And for the worker, the experience surely has to be dehumanising and humiliating, doesn't it?
And the type of measurement is a concern as well, because nobody turns up to work, Sam, and gives their 100% is not the same every single day. It's different.
Yeah,
right? So so that that can be for any number of reasons. So. What's the thing that catches it? What's the thing that gets your supervisor going, is everything okay?
Is that actually the intent behind the measurement, all these productivity?
I mean, that was one of the things that was claimed, but I don't know if that's the reason.
Yeah.